Okay, what I'm doing, to lower it here, as you see the light in here, this probably ain't going to be the best because it's done on my cell phone, but I'm going to take this nut here and I'm going to loosen it up. Not all the way, just get her loose where it needs to be. I'm losing it there. And I'm going to put a jack under here, enough where about 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to tap on this, right here where the finger is with something. And by doing that, it takes that ball joint, knocks it with spring pressure, it's going to push it down. If not, I have a tuning fork. And then when I take that out, I get it all loose. I'll take the nut off. Make sure the jack's under there at all times. Never take that jack off until that nut's off. And then you back out and let that jack down slowly. And what it's going to do is leave pressure off, and it's going to take this A-arm. This A-arm is going to swing out of the way, and I can pop that spring out without taking any of these other parts off. I don't have to take them off at all. All I got to do is pull this spindle up, and that'll slide right out. It's a little harder to do this way, but it's the way I've always did it, and it's real easy, I mean, to me. So, we're going to go for it. Okay, that's what I did so far. As you can see, here the jack is underneath the A-arm. Just barely enough room, so when it pops, it ain't going to go nowhere. And if you look in here, the nut is not all the way off, it's just loose. So, when it pops, it's not going to go flying. And I got this under here. I have a jack stand under the front. You can't see very good. Jack stand back there. And still all 3 of the other tires are on. So, if you take your time and do it this way, it is safe. I mean, but that's why I think it's safe. That's my opinion. There's probably other people that would strap this and strap that and all this other stuff. But for what I have, just jack stands and jack, this works fine for me. And all you gotta do, like I said, is tap right in here, or you get the pickle fork and stick it in between here, and it pops that ball joint. I'll show you in a second how it comes apart. Okay, the hammer wasn't working. I'm going to show you what I mean by a pickle fork. It's called a pickle fork. You can see how it's made. It's wedged, and what you do, you want to be careful because you can tear this rubber in here. But let me get in here and try to get it where you guys can see. Sorry about this. I'm trying the best I can for you here. Alright. Let me put this in here. Let me see. Now you can see where it goes in between that joint and the top piece. And what you're going to do is you're going to get a big hammer. I mean, at least a 2-pounder. Because if not, you're going to be there all day. And what you're going to do is gently start to tap that in. It's in there. Make sure your my jack moves a little bit. It's at the right place. And then you're beat. I mean, you're going to hit the back of this hard until it pops. Let's see if we can do it, and I can film it at the same time. There it went. Did you hear that ping? Pull your fork out. See where, let me try, see where my nut is tight? All you do is, now you take your jack, because it's laying on the jack. You'll jack that up. I jacked it up. Now you see my nuts loose again. Try to get my hand out of the way so you guys can. The nuts loose. All you do is take your. I have to get the ratchet and take that off. remember to have your jack stands and your floor jack under there. Because if you start taking this off and it slips even more, that nut will come off there. I'm saying probably 100 mile an hour could. Because all that pressure. And you don't want no accidents. So, someone get hurt over something little and stupid. As you can see, let me see up here. Go this way. My nut is all the way off. See? The nut is right here in my hand. Set that out of your way. Make sure everything's out of the way, just in case something would happen. But the nut's loose, everything's out. Now, if I did this right, you set this camera up here. You'll want to watch it, because when it goes down here, you'll have to get your dust shield, come down slowly and push your dust shield out of the way. If not, it's going to catch and it's going to tear your dust shield all up. So, let me go ahead and loosen this, the jack. See, I'll show you what I mean, because I know it's probably sitting on the dust shield. Yep, it's on the dust shield, so what you're going to have to do, tighten your jack up, put just enough pressure on it where it comes off that dust shield. Right there. Take a small screwdriver or whatnot, whatever you have handy, and push that out. You don't want to bend it all up, you just want to get it out of the way. Let's see what else we got, because that screwdriver is a little thin for what I want to do. Let's go over to the box here and get an old screwdriver. And then you're going to take your screwdriver in between this dust shield and your A-arm. Try to get that dust shield out of the way. Alright. I'll lay it down just a little bit. I got the jack where it's loose and it'll come down slowly, very slow. I got my dust shield out of the way, didn't bend anything up, and there it is. Just simple as I told you guys. Ain't doing it here. Everything's off, didn't hurt nothing, springs in there. The dangerous part is when you get your jack out of the way and you lower this A-arm all the way, is getting that spring out. That spring can still fly out of there. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Let me get everything out of the way, and I'll show you in a second. Okay, what I did here, I took that jack, I didn't put it on the dust cover, I put it underneath, and I just barely, it's any pressure on it, just to hold that out of the way. That's all I'm doing. It's holding it out of the way, because you don't want to push up and that spin and pop off. You don't want to break your new brake line you just put on or anything like that. And what I'm going to do is I got this screwdriver, this huge, actually this will work, right here. All you need is something with leverage, because you want to be out of the way when you do this. I'm far enough back, if anything does happen, I'm okay. That's just where I cut that one piece off. And what I'm going to try to attempt to do here is push on this to get this down some, for one. But it'll pop also when I'm doing this, it'll pop the spring right out. As you can see, the spring came right out. It didn't fly. I took my time. That's what I said, you gotta be careful with this stuff. Now, the object is to take your bar. If you got a little end on, let me try to get it in the camera. Little end or something on there, and you can get it in there. But what you're attempting to do is push this down and pop its spring. Easy as that. Safe, easy. And what I would recommend is, let me see, I think this is my paint here. You can do this while this is actually in the vehicle. You're going to be like, why is he painting the bottom of that? I'll do the other side. You know that was the bottom. Because these springs are, if you look on here, let me show you over in the light. It's cold different, see? I always cut them off the bottom. I've never cut it off the top. I cut one cool off the bottom. That usually gives me the drop that I want. So, what I'll do is take my can over here. So when I pop this one out in a minute, well, I actually can't get it. Yeah, I can. You guys can't see this too well, but I'm going to spray. Can't see that, but I sprayed the bottom, so I knew that was the bottom. Now, what you want to do when you cut these, what I suggest, I mean, there's probably all different ways of cutting these. You only want one cool. I would not recommend to cut anything else. You cut too many, that's the max cool. And you want to cut it right there. Right? Straight across. You cut one cool. Actually, it's right here laying. See, it's square, so your cool you're going to cut up here. Cut that off. And then what I do is, see how this is flat here? You probably can't see it. Let me show you this way. See, that's level. I'll take this after I cut this cool. Sorry about that. And I'll take the grinder and I'll grind that right there, flush. So when it gets in there, it'll slide in there better, and it's going to level it out. Like this is already level. You can level that one out. So there you go. It's out. We'll cut it, and I'll show you how to put it back in and everything. Okay, I cut one full cool off. As you take notice, let me show you a little bit better here. I leveled it off a little bit. I ain't saying I did it a lot. I'll paint that a little, throw some black paint or something on it. But you can see it's more a little level. One cool. That's it. No more. If I put that up there, you can see where I leveled it off. Make sure you put it back in the same way you took it out, bottom and top. We're going to throw some black paint on that. Just make it look a little better for now. It's airbags going on this truck anyway. But there's one cool. Okay, I got it partially sitting in there. I'm just going to show you real quick. It's partially in there. I mean, you can see it. Now, there's no pressure on this thing at all because you don't see no jack stands or nothing. All I did is push it down with that bar and set it in there. But I wanted to show you something. If you look back here where these two holes are, you'll see. There you go. You'll see where that coloration stops. That's where that pocket ends. That spring. That's why I took that down. That goes in that pocket. It sits in there just right, because if you don't have it in there right, suspension's not going to be correct. Well, a lot of people would say it ain't correct anyway because you cut your spring, but you want to try to keep it and put that back where it belongs. So what it's going to do, let me see if I can get this light. Sorry about this. Let me see. It's kind of hard to do when you're doing all this work by yourself. But right here, where my finger is, that's where it's level across there. And that's where this piece right here, the end of where you cut off, is going to sit. So, alright, let me go ahead and... Okay, the only thing we're going to do now, let me show you this. I got it setting back in the little dish, the pocket where it's supposed to be. The only thing you do now is put your jack back under there and jack it up very slowly. You don't want to rush because that spring can still fly out of there. It's up in you want to reach up here, make sure it's on it's got little pieces that stick out. You want to make sure that all that's right. Seems like everything's in the right place, but you want to make sure it is. And then all you do is jack it up and put your ball joint back together. Let's see. And actually, the top spring is not right. See, so that's why you check and double check. My bottom spring is right. Top spring ain't. That spring should be over that way towards the truck. So what we got to do, and it's all used, if you do everything right, everything's loose, I can push that down like that. So let me see if I can set this where you guys can see. Well, let me go ahead and put that right, and then I'm going to jack it up and show you. Okay, I got it. It's partially in there. I want to show you. You can see it, but it's not. I don't have a lot of pressure on this. Barely, hardly any pressure at all. Because what you want to do is put hardly any pressure on it. It's not setting where it needs to yet. So what I'm going to do is get a hammer. Try to see if you got it. Well, I ain't going to be able to do it and show you at the same time. But I'm going to get a hammer. And I'm going to tap. Trying to so you guys can see it. I'm going to tap on this spring. And that's going to spin that around there. Actually, I might be able to do it and show you. I don't know. Because it's not hardly any pressure on that spring. Well, I can't do it and work the camera at the same time. I'll do it and then I'll put it back together and then I'll show you. Okay. You probably can't see it that much because it's way up there now. You can see it somewhat there. It's sitting in its pocket, and the bolt's on. The bolt, it's right through. Just take your time, so you don't mess up your dust cover and everything, because you don't want to bend anything up, tear anything up. But it's back where it's got to be. Put your nut on, torque it down to the proper specs. I don't know exactly what they are. I torque it down. I just torque it till I feel it, because That's the way I've always did it, but I'd recommend to torque it to the right specs. And then put your wheel on, set it down, see how low it got. There it is. I'll finish the other side and then I'll show you. Alright, here you go. Did it make a difference or not? A lot of people say, well, this or that, and you don't get that much. This is just one side now. See if we can get the jack all the way out. That's one side. Look how far it went. Let me show you what I mean. You're like, you really can't tell. See how this side is? Let me get my ruler. They dropped it a lot. If you're looking at the truck, it's leaning to one side badly. But we're gonna fix that. We're gonna lower the other side. It's just a rough estimate to show you, because this is not set level. That's saying that's right about on the tire and straight out, 6 inches. Now remember, this is just one side. That's actually going to go down more. That's roughly around 4 inches, it says. So, and when I drop the other side, because the other side's still holding it up, it's going to go even more. So we're going to get about a 3-inch drop, 3 or 4 inch drop, what I wanted, and then I'll put the back on. And then if you put lowering tires or smaller profile tire, they drop it even more. So there's how you drop the front of your S10 for nothing, actually, unless you got to buy new Carter keys and stuff, which I did, and you need the tools to do it. It didn't cost me nothing to drop the front of this truck. The back, it did. I got blocks. I got I told you $56 in the whole thing. So I'll show you the next one when it's done, all together. Okay, here we go. Your side's already done. Took me half an hour or something like that, because most of it was already torn apart. We're going to drop the truck here and let you see how low it got. See how low it gets. I'll take the jack out in a minute because as you see, they dropped the front a lot. As you can see, let me go on the other side and show you. Make sure this is all the way down. You see the fender well on the back. Look at the fender well on the front. Perfect. It's not slammed. It won't drag on the road. It'll be, but if you put your shocks back on, if you put aftermarket shocks, the high performance ones, the ones made for these, they even ride even better. Put your strut bar on back on, it'll handle good. Now we just got to drop the rear, and we got a lot to drop the rear. Rear's easier than dropping the front. You don't have to tear as much apart, but in 3-inch blocks is not going to drop it as much as the front, I don't think. I'm going to tell you right now. We had that roller. Let me find my metal roller. There it is. Remember last night I said I think the fronts were saying 15 or something. I don't know. You'll have to see on the video before this. For right now, the front bumper is without lowering the rear. So front bumper 11.5. So I'll show you in next video. The rear slammed. It'll be lower today, but you can see just sitting there that the front, it went down pretty good. And it might even settle even more after I drive it some. But that was 11.5, so I gained about 3.5 to 4 inches just by cutting the front springs. But make sure if you do it, use plenty of jack stands and jacks and everything else, where like I showed you. If you don't have stuff, borrow it. If you got someone to lift, even better. I mean, lift it up and then it's off the ground a little bit, but don't lift it all the way up in the air, because you do that, it's going to fly apart. But just enough where you can get your jack stand stuff under it, and good luck. Okay, now the only thing I did here was took these back U-bolts, and if you can, let me see it, I cut through at least halfway, maybe 3 to 5/8 roughly, no 3/4. Then I took my breaker bar here and snapped them. I didn't cut all the way through because I didn't want to be on the truck and then there's something fly out and fly out. Yeah, I mean, even if you have safe glasses, it's going to fly out. But what I did, let me show you, is jacked it up. That little nub there is my new bolts, where my new bolt goes. So what I'm end up doing in here, it's got 2 leaves on it. I'm going to take this bottom leaf, this one right here, I'm going to put these with my clamp first, clamp this together, but I'm going to cut that bolt and take it apart, and then I'm going to use this, cut this, and use it as another block. So it's going to be it'll have 2 blocks. It's going to be on top. That's another 1/2 inch. So it's 3.5, and then because this is pressure on that, so it's actually going to drop it maybe 5, roughly, maybe 6, which that should level the truck out. All right, I'll show you when it's done. But that's all I did, is cut through the bolts partially, and all I used is that. I was careful not to get near no brake lines up, and snap the bolts. Okay, just wanted to show you this real quick. Before you even start to cut that bolt, if you're done, take a leaf or 2 out. Put a C-clamp on it, because them things will fly apart. It's got a lot of pressure holding them together. C-clamp it, cut your bolt, you'll be fine. Okay, this is all I did. Show you guys. Got the blocks. Let me take that block off. See where I cut? Alright. Where I cut that, I put it on top. It was on the bottom. All it is a helper spring. And I put a new bolt in it. Still got 2 factory leaves. And I put the block on top. I'll put it together and lower it and show you guys what it looks like. Okay, it's lowered. Here's my $70 lowering kit. Made it up. Cut the front springs, 1 full coil, and if you watch earlier in this video, you'll see how I cut it and how I shaved it. It didn't drop it a lot, but it's down there. It looks pretty good now. So I've got that big fender well. Let me find a ruler here, and we'll do the bumpers. Last night I think the back bumper was 17, if I'm mistaken what I told you guys, or this morning. Let me see. And right now we're at 14. So it's a 3-inch drop in the rear. In the front bumper, 12 1/4. We'll do the door check, the other door check. That's one I showed you guys before. We'll check each bumper. That one was, actually this one's a little less. This one's 13.5, so it's probably around 13.5. because it's leaning the way it's sitting. It needs to be driven to settle everything down. And the front one, this one says around 12, so it needs to settle down some and get everything done. Let's see what the door was. The door was 14, if I do remember, earlier in the last video. And right now, we are 11. So 3 inches. I did a total 3-inch drop. It ain't slammed, which it's probably more than that, but I'm just saying it's 3 inch, and it actually looks pretty good. I'll take it outside and I'm gonna film it and everything, show you guys that. So there she is. She's sitting down. Okay, here it is. It's lowered. It's dropped a good bit. Everything's pretty good. Just taking it out for test bed. I still got to bleed the brakes. Got to put new brakes and stuff on the front, which I showed you guys. Then I'll be saving some money and fix some body work and stuff. And then I'll get the rest of my air ride and I'll show you how that goes on. But for now, it's going to be like this for a while. I'll get some new shocks and put on the front and put sway bar lengths on. Let me know what you think.